Hello everybody, welcome back into Space Engineers. In this episode of my Beginner's Guide tutorial series, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to upgrade your base and add a little bit more efficient of a drilling rig to the base, as well as build your rover. But first off, before we go over here and continue the game, I quickly want to go ahead and do a quick mod tutorial. So let's go over to load game, then you're going to want to simply click on the world that you want to add the mods to, go to edit settings, and then you're going to want to come down here in the screen that pops up and says mods. Click on that. Then you're going to want to go to browse workshop. Ignore all the mods that I have there. Now let's search for one of my favorite mods here. It's called proper hydrogen, and I put one too many spaces in there. I can't type apparently. But proper hydrogen rebalanced mod. So let's go ahead, and it's right here. Now, when you find the mod that you want to do, obviously click on it like I just did there. I want to go for this one. I want to click on the screen or the text, doesn't really matter. And then you're going to want to add it to a collection. I've already added it to Space Engineers Blueprints, and then just go ahead and hit OK. Now, what adding it to a collection does is it basically just allows you to share that with your friends or anyone that wants to know what mods you're using in any given world or save or whatever. Then what you're going to want to do to actually add it to your game is go down here and click on subscribe. Now I already have subscribed, but you'll see this if you haven't installed it already. All you got to do is hit subscribe, and there you go. It says this item has been added to your subscriptions and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and close out of here and close out by Shift Tab out of the Steam Workshop. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to scroll through and find the mod that you want. We just downloaded this. All you got to do now is click this activate mod, and it'll put it over here. If you want to activate your entire mods list, simply just put this double arrow and it'll put everything over there. I don't want to do all of the mods because there's a lot. So where did proper go? Proper hydrogen. Am I blind? What's happening here? If you ever come across that, just go ahead and hit refresh, and it should pop up like it has. There you go. The same buttons apply to put the mod back into the inactive mod or inactive mods. You simply click on whatever mod you want to deactivate and go ahead and click the left arrow instead. But I want to have proper hydrogen rebalanced on, and we're going to go ahead and hit OK once we have all the active mods installed. Quite simple, and then all you got to do, double click on your world and it should load everything up. Alright, now once we're loaded back in, where'd my gun go? What? There we go. Give me that back, please. Thank you. Anyway, so we still got the drilling away here. It actually looks like it's fully extended here. Perfect time. Thank you. So let's go ahead and bring that drill back out. We're also going to want to go ahead and lock our advanced rotor, and might as well turn off the drill while we can. Yeah, whatever, doesn't really matter. So let's go ahead and grind down this whole rig here, and hopefully we'll have enough components to make another drill. Let's go ahead and quickly check and see if we have. So the assembler does not appear to have very much done here, which is jolly good. We need a lot of iron. So we don't have enough, so we're going to go ahead and use the same trick I showed you last time, where we simply, not search for a coon, we're going to search for a conveyor junction, and then we're just going to grab the components we need for that. We already have enough. Okay, so we're just going to slap another conveyor junction on right there, and then we'll just simply slap the drill back on in the same position and weld her up. Okay, let's turn that on, unlock the rotor, and let's go back to our piston, reset the maximum distance, and then reset the reverse the piston to have downwards force instead of upwards force. So it's pushing it back down into the earth. What is that? Oh, interesting. Anywho, so let's go ahead and get straight into, let's check our power, make sure it's good first of all. Yep, everything's good here. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up our toolbar for a rover. So we're going to need a battery, of course. We're going to need some cargo containers. I'm going to go with medium because they don't require very much to build, and you're not going to be able to build small or large because you need metal grids. If you look in the right hand corner down there, you see that you need metal grids. So I'm going to use medium because it does not need any metal grids. So I'm going to use medium. We're also going to need some wheels, which we cannot make. So again, go over to your progression tree, and we'll see that we need to make a landing gear, which is totally fine. We need to make one anyways. So let's go ahead and grab a landing gear. So once we have the landing gear, next we're going to need a cockpit, of course, because how else are you going to be able to control the thing if you can't actually get into it? How can I build drills if I haven't built any of this? Okay. Anyway, so as well, you need to build a landing gear before you can build a cockpit. So it looks like landing gear is the thing to build. So we're going to go to small grid again by hitting 3, because 3 is my landing gear, and that is the block that I have equipped right now. And then we're just going to simply grab all the components, and let's go over here and start it. And there we go. Now you don't need to weld these up, but I'm going to do it anyways, because landing gears do actually just connect on their own. You don't need to weld them up. Is there another dog around here? No? I was kind of hoping for some free goodies. So we don't need landing gear anymore. Let's grab us some steel plates. Sure, we'll take all that, thank you. Now, as you might notice, ever since I started this recording, I've actually gone down only about 14% in hydrogen. If we take a quick look, I still have 100% hydrogen in my bottle there. So the proper hydrogen rebalance mod allows you to do that, wherein it doesn't take anywhere near as much hydrogen as it normally would. But anyways, let's go ahead and come up a couple blocks here and make a nice little pad. I'm going to come out 4 blocks on either side. And that'll be a good place to start. Now all you got to do is simply come out a little bit on front and back. So let's go ahead and get that done. Alright, now that we got a fairly decent pad to start working with, man, that drill is loud. Holy smokes, man. But anyways, now that we have the pad laid out, let's go ahead and grab some interior plates as well. I don't know if we actually have any made. Oh yes, we do. Good. So let's go ahead, and first off, I want to lay down the cargo right in, let's start at the front here, and then we're going to go 3 on either side. Should be plenty. Now, for the design that I'm going for, I like to actually start with a rotor. So let's go ahead and do that. Rotor. We shall grab that. And now you're going to want to put it in the middle of your rover here, and simply grind off the top part, and then actually build up the rotor itself. Now I need a steel tube. Why did you not grab the steel tube when I was over here, huh? Answer me, damn you. And there we go. Now what we're going to need to do is search for rotor, and then we're going to want to grab the rotor part. Now you're going to want to fly directly above your rotor here, like so, and then switch to large grid once it allows you to, because we're still pretty close to the small grid, so it automatically switches it back to small grid. But once you have the large grid equipped, go ahead and fly up until it turns green. The box around the rotor part actually turns green, and then all you got to do is simply drop it so it falls relatively on top of the rotor, like so. Now we're going to need to go ahead and get some components for a small battery. Let's go ahead and drag, you know what, let's cancel all this. I don't know what that's crafting, but let's get the power cells created first and foremost, and make sure that when you do that you are in small grid. Now let's come a little ways back. Let's come about 4 blocks back, and we'll put one there, and then we'll put another one right there. Let's go ahead and make sure that it produces another 40 power cells instead of just 20, because we have 2 batteries, so we need 40 power cells. While we wait, let's go ahead and slap a control panel on just for now. We do not want to have the control panel on here for very long. Looks like we still need some steel plates as well, so we'll go ahead and craft that. Alright, let's go ahead and just slap it under here for now, and it's about to be nighttime. Jolly good. So now, once we go up here and put the power cells into the battery, we can simply go back to our control panel here, and then we'll search for rotor, and we're going to want to hit attach in the connection menu there. Then go ahead and turn both of your batteries to recharge so you don't waste the power, because they start with an initial charge, but they won't last for very long, especially once you start adding stuff to the actual grid here. So now that you've attached the rotor head, you'll see that it just chills out right here. Looks like we're going to need a lot of steel plates, so let's go ahead and get, I'd say let's get 200 cooking up first and foremost here. Alright, so you're going to want to add a couple more blocks on either side here. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Now with the rotor, that is completely optional. If you do not want to, oh, I need steel plate. Okay, but if you do not want to build the rotor, then feel free, but stick around till the end to understand what this will actually be used for, as it will help out quite a lot. But hopefully, yeah, it looks like we're not really producing enough stone right now. Jolly good. Will you hurry up, please? So I'm just going to give that a little bit of time to go ahead, where is the drill? To go ahead and process some stone, get down another 5.5 meters there. And I'll let you guys, I'll come back once we have some more stone and some more steel plates crafted up. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and weld up the base, because we already put the steel plates into this, because it only needs one steel plate, and it only takes one steel plate to actually place this. So let's go ahead and weld all these up. Now while we're doing this, please remember that if this tutorial is helpful to you, please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, as hitting the like button really helps the video out, get out to more people, and it helps my channel grow, which is the ultimate goal. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so if you would like to be number 14, I believe I'm sitting at right now, that would be muy excelente. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what the heck I'm saying. Just whatever, okay? Just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys when we have some more materials to work with. Alright, well, some of the components are still being made. I want to go ahead and actually quickly place our cargo containers on the end here. Yeah, we can get away with just placing it like that, and then we can come down here. Oh my goodness. Then we can come down here and place it in the right way, right there, and then right there. And seeming as the components have already been made, I can go ahead and weld this up now. So I'm going to go ahead and get the cargo set up. Okay, so something that I want to get done before we actually go any further is we're going to want to go ahead and get the components needed for the cockpit. Now make sure that you're only creating what you need to create. So all I did there, after I middle clicked and it told me I needed certain components, I went ahead and shift middle click to add those components that were left and still needed to be processed for the cockpit to the building queue. So if we look into the production queue here, we see that it is empty. Okay, perfect. Well, it's already grabbed all of it, so let's get some of that. And hopefully we have some some steel plates. So let's go ahead and add a little bit more room. I'm just going to come out a good bit here. Yeah, sure. Make a little bit of a pedestal for the cockpit. And there we go. Now we can go ahead and slap our cockpit right on the front and throw all the goodies into here. We don't have... What? How could we possibly not have the stuff we need for this? So just a little bit more proof. I've been playing for about 15 minutes off camera, and let's go ahead and take a peek. We have 100% in our hydrogen bottle, and if you look at the hydrogen level in my suit, it's only 64. So we are using very little hydrogen now, which is very, very good. So I highly recommend that proper hydrogen rebalance mod. Alright, now that we have pretty much everything needed for the beginning of it at least, let's go ahead and go back into our G menu, and we're going to search for conveyor, but this time we're going to want to use small conveyor, and again grab the one with the plus check mark. Then let's clear our build planners first, then simply go ahead and collect a bunch of components for it. Alright, now we're going to want to connect up to the front here with a curved by scrolling through the conveyor junction with the plus mark until you find the curved bad boy, and then find a straight one and do the same on the other side. So curved and then straight and curved, so that we can line it up with our cockpit here. and then simply go ahead and weld that all up. Now this isn't necessarily a needed step, but I like to do it just because then you can actually access everything in the cargo container from the cockpit, so you can shift around cargo and everything is connected up with each other. Now be sure to leave about a block space, or you can ride up nice and close to the rotor like this, but don't go right underneath the rotor. That'll cause some issues. But now while we're sitting here and everything's welded up, let's go ahead and hide all the cargo containers from the terminal, not the inventory screen. Make sure that that is selected, and make sure that you have this to turned off. Just keeps the hierarchy here a little bit nice and neat. I'm also going to add the batteries to a group called rover batteries. Okay, there we go. Save that, and then we'll also hide that in terminal. Now what we're going to want to do is go over to your rotor, and then you're going to want to come down till you see rotor displacement here and jack that all the way up. What that allows us to do is, if we go back into our G menu and search for an ore detector, we can go ahead and grab one of those, but we can also create a large grid rotor, which is our ore detector, which is going to be very useful because it has a much larger range, 3 times larger than the small grid. So we're definitely going to want a big boy. I think that should be fine. Alright, yeah, whatever. So let's go ahead and actually let's set up our first G menu within a vehicle as well. So all you got to do is, when you're in a cockpit, all you want to do is hit G while sitting in a cockpit or control station of some kind that can actually fly or drive the vehicle. Then what you're going to want to do is scroll down till you see groups, and then hit batteries, and we're going to set this to recharge on and off. That's the only group we're going to set for right now. We're just going to go ahead and put it on auto, and then we're going to go back into our control panel, go to rotor, and then we're going to set a lower limit of 0 and an upper limit of 0 as well. So then all we got to do is put that to 1 RPM, and then when we come back into rotor, it's not quite at 1. Okay, let's come on, hurry up, get over there. Alright, there we go. So now it's at 0. Now you can go ahead, put the rotor lock on, put the braking torque all the way up and the torque all the way down so that it will not move whatsoever. Then make sure to put your batteries back on recharge, and then you can come back out and put your ore detector facing like that. Now what I like to do next is not necessarily needed as well, but I like to do it just because it's my build and I can do as I please. But let's go ahead and add a hydrogen tank onto the back, and looks like we don't have enough room, so let's come out, let's say 3 blocks for now, and I'm going to leave it wireframe just in case that's too much space. And what this allows you to do as well is, because this thing is going to be kind of top heavy, so it will give it a little bit of extra weight on the back once you actually add the hydrogen tank and hydrogen engine to this build. So let's go ahead and slap that. Can we connect it nicely? No, we can't. Okay. So let's simply put her there. Is that gonna get in the way? That's perfect. Just out the way of the freaking ore detector there. Now we're gonna add our little hydrogen engine here. Now what this hydrogen engine will allow you to do is that if you run out of battery power for whatever reason, as long as you have hydrogen, you can simply run your hydrogen engines and run off of hydrogen power, which will be very useful if you ever need to use hydrogen. So let's go ahead and connect these up using the curved and not that orientation, please. Now what you're going to want to do when, at least in this configuration, is you're going to want to put a conveyor junction right at the bottom going into the hydrogen engine. So I want to put a conveyor junction right in the middle here, which will be needed to add a connector later on. And there's a doggy. Where'd you go? Come back here. Did I get it? Hey, where do you think you're going, pal? I want your goodies. Just some steel plates. Okay. Well, that's not really worth it, but alright. So the hydrogen tank is not actually connected to the right side of the ship via the actual cargo ports. So one thing you could do is you could run a conveyor tube from the middle of the hydrogen tank here and run it into this cargo container, but that's not really needed because everything is already connected through the cockpit. So everything runs on the right side. So everything on the right side runs through the cockpit comes through this pipe and then goes through the left side. So we do not really need to connect up the hydrogen tank. All we need to do is connect up a connector right at the back here. So let's clear up some space here. We don't need any of this stuff anymore. So let's get a connector, and there we go. We'll just add it like so, and then we'll come back over to our connector, or our conveyors, sorry, and simply connect it up like that. Now why I put two conveyor junctions there is because they act as full blocks, so that you can place blocks onto them. So now the connector is connected up, and when we want to connect up to a base, all we got to do is line up our little connector there. That might be a bit of an issue. Let's bring it out a small bit. So we're gonna come out a little bit here. Want to come out one more block, just so that we don't run the risk of hitting the hydrogen tank into a wall or something like that, which is not a very good thing to have happen. They are obviously quite delicate, and if they go below functional, then they lose all the hydrogen that is stored up in there. So we're just going to come out with one block, or come out by one block rather, and then we'll just put our connector back up like so. So let's grab all the components we need for a hydrogen tank. Again, if you don't have the components needed, simply push shift middle click again, and it'll put all the components that you need to make it into the production queue. So it looks like we're just waiting for some steel tubes. Do I seriously not have any iron? Come on now. You can make stuff. Let's get these things going first. Now keep in mind that if you're looking at a grid, once you select a different block, you're going to need to go ahead and first of all clear your build planner, and then make sure that the block that you're trying to build is in whatever grid size you're trying to build. So I just switched to hydrogen tank. I'm going to hit it again to get all the components I can. Then I'm going to switch to hydrogen engine and hit it again to grab all the components I can from there. And I need to get rid of that because I wasn't able to grab the components. Let's add that to production queue as well. Oh, we are running very low on materials. So it looks like the components for the ore detector should be made now. So let's go ahead and clear the inventory for that place. Thank you. What? 12 components. I think... Okay, never mind. We have enough components. I don't know what the heck. I guess I already grabbed 13 detector components. But anyways, let's get the detector welded up. Okay, now that we have the ore detector welded up, connector welded up, and the hydrogen engine and the hydrogen tank all on the ship, let's go back into our cockpit, go into the G menu, and then we're going to want to set up our actual like main goodies for the ship. So we're going to go ahead and drag the connector down and hit switch lock. We're going to right click or drag the hydrogen engine down and click on toggle block. And then for the hydrogen tank, we need it built first. Crap, okay. So while we sit here and wait, we're going to go ahead and right click on the ore detector, and we're going to toggle that block on and off as well. So now that what that allows us to do is we can turn off and on the ore detector, which mainly you're going to want to have it off unless you're actually scouting for minerals, because it takes a lot of power to run the ore detector, so don't really want to just have it running for no real reason. But let's go ahead and check out. This is 100% max, so let's bring it all the way back up and turn off the drills. Turn off the drills and lock the rotor, and we're going to go ahead and put it out one more block. Now a cool little feature that you're going to want to use, at least I like using it, is that you can double click on any item and it'll simply sit there and work away, which allows you to look in the screen and do all your little bits of information and changes that you need to make while you sit there welding away. So we have the drill perfectly set up. Now let's go ahead and set it to 0.5 just because. Let's start getting some stone right away. And then let's start, and then all you have to do is just simply, while it's running, just simply click again and it'll stop firing whatever that block is that you're holding. And it works on all blocks, as you can see. It works on drill, grinder, and the welder. Now, like I was saying, the initial bit of... What was that? My own feet, I guess? Now, what I was saying, the initial bit of the ground that you need to go through is very, very bad producer of stone. As you can clearly see, we've got a pretty decent sized hole here, and we're really struggling with materials. Alright, so for this design, I'm going to go ahead and put 6 wheels on. So let's go back into our G menu, and we're going to want to search for wheel. I like using the 5x5, so I'm going to grab a 5x5 right and a 5x5 left. Make sure to read the little thing that pops up to make sure you're grabbing the right one. And then let's add 3 of the right and 3 of the left to the build plan. So we have 6 wheels in total, and those are large grids. I don't want large grid. So those were large grid. Now I don't want to be building large grid. I want to build small grid. So let's simply go over to this little corner over here, and to switch a grid size, all you have to do is click on whichever one you want. Like I was saying, the large open box, like I was saying in the last episode, that is, the large open box is your large grid, and the small closed box with the tiny little square in the corner is your small grid. So let's go ahead and add 3 right and 3 left for the small grid. That was 3 and 3, right? Okay, good. And let's, I mean, it doesn't really matter left and right. They take the same components, but whatever. Now let's grab the components that we need for the hydrogen tank, hopefully. Yes, there we go. Now something to keep in mind with the hydrogen engine is that, well, it is a very powerful engine. If you don't have the proper hydrogen rebalance mod enabled, it absolutely chews through your hydrogen. So you definitely do need to keep that in mind. But let's go ahead, and I actually forgot to add a generator. So let's add that bad boy into our queue here. Let's empty our inventories and grab stuff for a, what am I building here? Looks like I'm building some wheels. Don't need that. So let's just clear that out and get the stuff. We need just steel plates is all we need now. Okay. Now just to have it nice and simple, let's go ahead and grind down our, oh crap, I forgot about the power cell. Right. Well, we're going to need to make another power cell, but I'm going to go ahead and remove the hydrogen engine here. Okay, now, so with a small grid H2O2 generator, you have a large port and 2 small ports on the back. So let's go ahead and connect up the large port to the back of the cargo container here. Throw some goodies into there. And then if you want, you can clean up the conveyor's tubes. I'm not too worried about it because everything is still connected. And then we'll come back into here and build up our hydrogen engine. Now make sure that you connect the ports up properly. It has it on the bottom in the middle of the engine and in the middle on the sides of the generator. So let's connect that all up and get this all welded back up. So quick change that I made, I actually decided to go ahead and put the flat side to the outside just because I think it looks a little better, keeps the profile nice and straight. But anyways, let's go ahead and empty all the goodies that we have, and let's get a little bit of ice, not all of our ice. Let's put 4,000 back, so we'll keep 5,000. Let's go ahead and put the ice into a cargo container here, and then we'll come back into our cockpit and we'll search for the we need to replace a hydrogen engine. Simply put that back there. Then we're going to want the hydrogen generator as well, and put that into your hotbar. And now that we have the hydrogen tank built as well, let's go ahead and right click on that, and you're going to want to put stockpile on off. So now that we have all that set up, let's simply turn our batteries on. Make sure your hydrogen generator is on and your hydrogen engine is on, and then go ahead and turn your batteries on by hitting 1 in my case. So yes, it is creating some hydrogen. Is that just going straight into the tank? Okay. So why is that? There we go. So let's just turn off and on our hydrogen engine and get it powering everything up. And then we can simply come back here and turn our batteries back to recharge and allow the hydrogen engine to power everything as well as recharge the batteries. So that's a nice quick way. That's why I like having the hydrogen engine, because it can charge the entire ship while we sit here waiting for stuff to happen. Something I actually like to add to my rovers, but again is not necessarily needed, just in case something goes wrong, I like to add a couple of gyros. So I'm going to add 2 gyros, and then I'm going to go ahead and I don't have the large steel tubes. Oy, oy, oy. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a gyro right in the front here, and another gyro in the back somewhere here. I think I'll tuck it in right there. Now what the gyros will allow you to do is if you get some pretty decent air, it'll actually allow you to use your mouse to control the rover, which is very useful in certain circumstances. Alright, now we can come over here, and which do we have? If you look on the panel on the right side, it'll tell you which side wheel you're using. Also, if you look right above your toolbar, it'll also tell you right at the end of the name what block you're using. So I want the left side because this is the left side of the rover. I don't think I'm going to be able to place my wheel there. Yeah, I don't think so. Alright, well that's going to be a little bit of a problem, but I will show you how to fix that in a second here. Let's go ahead and get the other wheels put on here. Doesn't really necessarily matter where exactly you put them, but just make sure that they will support the weight. Now with the wheels, you're going to want to make sure that this long side, as you can see, there's two different sides. The top will be the shorter side that ends pretty much in line with the actual block itself, and the bottom of the wheel will be a little bit longer, sticking out of the green box there. So we're going to add the long side down, and that'll make sure that the wheel is going the right way. So go ahead and weld up your wheels then. At least your suspension components, because the wheels take a little bit more components than what your suspension components actually use. So, with the energy here. So as you can see, the wheel takes a little bit different components. So we need 7 steel plates, 2 large steel tubes, and 15 construction components. Alright, now with our main wheels welded up, we still have the business of actually welding up or putting the front wheels on, and let's check this thing out. Hello, puppy. Thank you. Oh, you got a friend. Oh, you got a couple of friends. Hello. Okay, wait. Where are you going? Come back here. Where's that other guy? Oh, he's got a couple of friends. Holy cow. What the heck just happened there? So you don't necessarily need bullets in order to kill these guys. It just makes it a little bit easier. There we go. See, you can kill them with a grinder. Thank you for your component. Don't ask me why they have components on them. I just don't know. Alright, so now that everything is good and ready to go, let's go in here and just quickly take a look and see if we need to hide anything. We don't really need the ore detector or the rotor in our terminal. Don't really need generator. Tank would be useful because then we can actually see how much hydrogen we have. Now something that you're going to want to do is tag stuff like connectors. You're going to want to tag them to what they are. So this is the rover connector, so I'm going to tag it with the rover tag so that I know once I connect up to a base with multiple connectors or something with multiple connectors, I know what it is. Anyways, on to resolving this business about not having enough room in the front for our wheels. So all we're going to need to do, very simple fix, is we're going to clear up some room here. And what we're going to want to look for is a piston, grab one of those, and we're also going to want a landing gear, grab one of those. So let's make sure you're in small grid mode, where's the little icon thing? If you look in the bottom of the screen right below my ore detector, you'll see that those 2 boxes that are in the build planner are on the bottom of the toolbar there, so you can see which grid you're in. Let's grab enough stuff to build 2 small grid pistons as well as a small grid landing gear. Now let's go ahead, and I think the back would be the safest place to do this. Yeah, so let's go ahead and start by coming up a couple of blocks and then out a couple blocks. Then we're going to want to add our little mini piston here, the second piston right like so, and then add our landing gear on the very bottom. Let's weld that all up. Alright, now we'll just come over to here, and just for simplicity I'm going to do this in the let's actually go into our G menu here, or sorry, our K menu here, and we're going to add the pistons to a group real quick. And whatever, piston F, sure. Then we're going to want to get this landing gear. We'll rename that to Jack, and then we'll come back out into our G menu, search for groups, and we will, where is reverse? Here it is, reverse the distance. Then we're going to want to come back to all blocks, go to our landing gears, and put both landing gears to switch locks. Now we come back out, we'll power everything up, get the power back up and running. Now if we just simply come out here and reverse the pistons, we'll see, boom, that piston goes down. And then let's hit 3 and unlock our main piston there, our main, forgot to add the inertia tensors, there we go. So let's get that all good and tidy up now. We can remove this landing gear because we no longer need it. And then let's go ahead and get our wheels. All that's left to do now is some minor detailing work. Obviously weld up the wheel if you wish. Me personally, I'm just going to add a couple of little fins in behind the suspension like this, just because it makes it look a little bit more sturdy, not like it's just, you know, coasting on air, which kind of is a pet peeve of mine when I'm playing these kinds of games, just hovering blocks that don't make any sense. So I'm going to add those, add a little bit more of quote-unquote stability to the build, which is not a real thing. There's no real stability in this situation. And then we can take this out for a test drive, once you get your front wheels welded up, of course. And there you have it. That is your first rover. So now let's go ahead and don't just cut the landing gear down, that would hurt the machine a lot. So let's go ahead and actually lower the piston speed a little bit, because that was a little too fast for my liking. And how I did that, like kind of control selection screen, is you control and then left click and you can enter in any value that you want. So now that that's set, let's go ahead and reverse our pistons, which come down a lot nicer now. And while that's lowering, let's actually go ahead and put our, we need that on, right? What am I doing? So there we go, and now we can simply cut this block. Oh, put the parking brake on. Yeah, forgot about that. Why is it? There we go. You need power on to have the parking brake, right? And then you can grind all this down. Alright, now the next thing that you're going to need to do is add some way to connect up to the base, because we're going to need to have some, be able to recharge this thing. So let's go ahead and, you know what, let's actually just power it off for now, because we don't need to be wasting power. Let's just go ahead and add a connector to the base. Get out of here, please. And make sure this is a large grid. We need some motors and some large steel tubes. So I'm going to make 100 of each. Actually, I'm going to make 1,000 steel plate, 2,000 steel plates, because we're going to need a lot of steel plates. Alright, now that you have all the components, just simply slap it somewhere that is connected to the rest of the base. So in this case, it's on the refinery. Now you want to make sure that it's connected to a cargo container, because that's, well, how you're going to actually deposit all your cargo. So let's simply add it to this. Not necessarily a good idea to add it to the basic refinery. Like if you want to start sectioning off where certain materials go, this would actually hinder your ability rather to do that. So this is good for now, but once we actually get into actual cargo sorting, then we shall actually get into that. But we don't need to worry about that right now. So let's go ahead and connect our rover up to the base. That is too low, it looks like. Yes, okay. Let's just pull ahead a little bit. And then we're going to go over here. Make sure you have some steel plates, which I do not. Let's grab some steel plates and come over to our block menu here. And then let's add half blocks, which will bring it up just enough. Now you don't want to come too far out this way, because as I was saying there a little while ago, this will be a the drills are going to come straight up into here. So let's just come out a couple blocks this way, like suchly. Build a little bit of a pad for our nice new rover. I think that should be out of the way enough. And then what you're going to want to do is come over to this block, which you can find by going into your G menu and searching for light. And there you go. You got all the light armor. And then you're going to want to scroll till you see this little slope here and just add that to the end. Oh, this thing's in the way. Add that to the end of the ramp here, and just to give it a nice gentle rise. You know what, for now I think we're gonna have to do this. Just for now, we're gonna have to we'll have to come up with a better solution once we actually start using everything here. But that should allow us to just back up right onto, get in there, come on, right onto there like that, and then we can connect up, turn our batteries to charge, and there we go. Alright, now back in your rover here, let's go over to control panel. Now you're going to want to go ahead and figure out which wheels are the front ones. So I'm going to just damage it a little bit, bring it below functional, damage both front, right, and left wheels. Come back into control panel, and then this is your front wheel. So front. And then this is your front right wheel, so we'll do front on that as well. Now you're going to want to leave these as steering, but everything else you'll want to turn steering off, and then I just simply push control and then clicked on each one that I wanted to change there. So now they are all good. We can weld those back up. Now something I suggest doing with all of your wheels while it's connected to something like a base or it's still in the air is I suggest putting your power up to 70% and then putting your strength up to about 70% as well. Leave the height offset at the minimum, or you can jack it up a little bit if you want those extra couple centimeters. Doesn't really matter, and leave everything else the same. If you're noticing that you're having issues getting up hills and stuff like that, go ahead and increase the friction a little bit, but try and keep it around 50%. Leave everything else just as is. Your steering angle is pretty good at 25. If you really want, you could put it up to, it's really good at 20%. But if you really want better turning, you can jack it up to 25, maybe 30, but then it gets a little janky at that point. So I just went and alt middle clicked on the cargo hatch of the hydrogen tank, and it already put it over into this cargo container here. All the ice is in here now. So let's go ahead and turn on our, our hydrogen generator and allow this tank to start stockpiling. Which it is good. So now we have a little bit of hydrogen being made just in case. Alright, well, it's almost got a full charge, so I'm going to go ahead and say that's enough for now. Let's go ahead and disconnect from the base, and let's go on our first little scouting mission. So yeah, as you can see, the turning isn't that great on this, so I am going to go ahead and add, turn this steering up to 25, which should allow for a little bit more steering, and let's go ahead and turn on our ore detector. Let's just slowly cruise around here. Let's get some air. Woo! See, and that's where the gyros come into play. They really help with the when you actually catch some air. Make sure, though, before you do leave base that you have a waypoint. I don't think I actually showed you how to set those up. So let's just put Parker up there. Put the batteries on recharge so we're not just wasting power. So all you got to do to set a waypoint is you simply go into your I or K menu, come over to the GPS, and click on New from Current Position. I already have one marked here, so I'm just going to call this Base, and then fly back up to the rover, which is over here. Now while you're in your rover, something very useful is to actually go ahead and push Alt and then scroll out, and that will basically allow you to have a nice overhead view like this, and also give you a free cam view so you can scroll your mouse around as you please. Now what we're looking for is black spots on the ground, because that indicates ore patches, so we're trying to find one. Looks like there might be something just over there on that mount or that hillside there. So let's go check it out. There might actually be something down here too. Make sure to not pick up too much speed as the braking is a little janky. Yeah, there's an ore patch right down here. So let's go check out and see what's over here. Oh my goodness. We struck gold, boys. Not literally, but that is very good to see. Very, very good to see some cobalt so close to the base. Got a iron vein here as well. Let's keep scrolling down over, or driving down over here. See if there's another deposit. Nickel. Not that big of a deal, but nickel is definitely good. So we're definitely going to want to set up a bit of a drilling rig, or just go down by hand with the rover, which is basically why we made the rover. So let's set up a waypoint here. Now I like to put E for Earth, so I know that it's in Earth, so that if I'm flying around in space, I don't come back here thinking that there's cobalt in space if I don't want to enter atmosphere. So we're going to go cobalt, iron, and nickel. And there we go. We can go ahead and hide that on our heads-up display and continue on our merry way. Alright, what do you have in store? Oh, magnesium. Very, very good. Nickel and silicon. Okay. So we got magnesium. Mag. There we go. Oops. Let's hide that on our display as well. I'm not going to put nickel or silicon on it because silicon you don't really use very much, and you get a ton of it from the mining stone. So let's quickly just park the bad boy here. And now whenever you're leaving a station like this, make sure that you leave a grid like this. Make sure that you put a waypoint near it so that you can easily find it, because I am going up to basically orbit. I want to go ahead and find out where that ice lake was, because I'd like to go ahead and get a full, there it is, so it's just back that way. I'd like to go ahead and get a full rover load of ice so we can have a nice stockpile. Maybe not a full rover full, but a couple inventories worth, so that we can fill up the hydrogen tank and also have a nice little stockpile back at base. Once done, of course, you can go ahead and delete that waypoint, and let's turn around. Oops, let's turn around and go to the ice lake. But anyways, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful, of course. And as always, like the video if it was helpful. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Help this channel grow. I'd very much appreciate it. And help this video get out to more people that are trying to get started in the world of Space Engineers. It's a beautiful game. I hope you enjoy it. I absolutely love this game. I'm already 500 hours in or so, and honestly I can't get enough of this game. I actually sit in bed thinking about ship designs and stuff like that. So it's a very addictive game. But real quick before we sign off, I saw this little stone here, which if you ever see these little bad boys around, you can drive up. Silver? What? Wow, okay. Huh. I swear I'm not spawning these in. I don't even know how to spawn in or patches, but silver is going to be very, very useful. But those little rocks sticking out above the on top of the voxels, they are very useful because they give you stuff like silver, apparently. But no, I've usually found cobalt and gold in them. So they are very, very good to collect, or at least see what they are. Now, something quick, so another quick tip I'd like to share with you is that your drill will actually tell you what's around you as well. So if you fly up to an ore patch or something like that, and it's within, I believe, 15 meters, the ore detector in the drill will actually pick it up. So I've already gone ahead and done a little bit of ice farming, but that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video, as I've said before. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and of course comment down below if this video was helpful. Leave suggestions or just to chat. I would love to connect with you down below. Just a quick tip before I sign off though is if you actually push spacebar, it acts as a little bit of an emergency brake so that you can immediately stop. And here I am breaking my rule where I don't drive around with the ore detector on. Ugh, well, at least, oh my goodness, gold. What is happening here? Jeez, man. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, ladies and gents, peace.